Hi, so I wanted to take a look today at a couple of clubs, the Ping I59 and the Wilson Staff CB. The reason I picked these two models is they're aimed at the same sort of player, so it's a better players club, somebody who is a good ball striker, doesn't need quite as much forgiveness and wants to be able to shape the shots, hit them high, low, left, right, that sort of thing. Likes the look of a blade, but also realizes that maybe it's a bit silly using a blade when you could use something which looks a bit like a blade but gives you a bit of help. So these are not as forgiving as a player's distance iron like an I500 or a P790. They're a slightly smaller club head than that, a bit more specialised. They do offer a fair amount of forgiveness, but just not in the same league. And they are, importantly, weaker lofted than a lot of the player's distance irons. So these are coming in at 34 degrees each, and that is obviously a little bit weaker, makes the ball go a bit higher, but then better players tend to take a bit of loft off at impact. So I'll hit them, try and shape them a bit and see which is easier, talk about the feel. Also, one of the main reasons I wanted to do these two is that there's a bit of a massive price difference here. So we've got I59 coming in at about £1,549, £1,549, and Wilson coming in about £899. There's about £650 of a difference here. And I just wanted to see whether in any way, shape or form the Ping was actually worth the money. So we'll have a talk about that as well. I'll start with the Ping I59. There's a lot of technology in here. It's got an aluminium core in there. It's got weights. It's a hollow-bodied club. Strangely enough, it's got a stainless steel face and a forged back, which is kind of the opposite to a lot of the players' distance irons, where they would have a forged face to feel soft, with a cast back for the perimeter weighting and the strength to be able to have it as a hollow club and have all the help. So there's an awful lot of technology packed into this, whereas the Wilson's actually just a forged blade, really. It has a tri-brace in it as well, which helps structural rigidity and helps transfer energy back in the ball, and tungsten weight. So it does have some of the technology that maybe the Ping's got, but not quite in the same league. So I'll just go on and hit these and see how they go. Nice first initial strike, 161 carry and 173. Another good strike. Maybe we should get a set of these. A few good strikes, that's not the way to base off a purchase, to be honest, but anyway. 169, 159, 158 carry. I mean, these, I use Wilson D9s because I don't play as much as I would like to, and I need something even more forgiving than these. But this is the sort of club I would actually ideally quite like to use, and I would use these. It went a little bit further, but if I used these now, it would annoy me because I'd have to hit a club extra, and that's because of the loft mainly. I mean, the loft is 34, I know mine it's 30.5, so it's never going to compete with that, but it would just slightly annoy me, even though I prefer the look of something like this. Another decent strike. It's gone a lot higher than I would expect a 7-iron to look in here because of the loft. 167, 156. These are all good strikes. I haven't actually mishit one to see how much you lose on a mishit, because that's an important factor. Didn't mishit that either. Usually get a lot more mishits than this. It does feel nice. I mean, I'm using a Wilson Staff model ball, which is a reasonably soft ball, and the feel off the face, I mean, mind you, I'm hitting these out the middle. Most golf clubs, when you hit them out the middle, feel quite nice, but it does feel quite soft, even though it's actually only a stainless steel head. 175, 163 carry. Still quite a good strike. A bit left. Shaft I'm using is a Dynamic Gold 105 S300. It's roughly what I would normally use. Not quite as good a strike, but still reasonable. 168, 180. So they're getting close to actually where I would expect to hit my D9s. My D9 forged, which will go 185. Actually, they sometimes get up near 190 when I really hit them hard or good in here. A wee bit heavier, but still quite decent. 160, 172. I think these, I'd be thinking that these were going about 175 total distance. Maybe 160, just over 160 carry. That's what I would expect. So it's a bit less, about a club less than my D9 forged. Hitting them nice though. Hardly missed one. Well, while I'm swinging well, I'm going to go on to the Staff CB and see if there's any major difference. In terms of looks, comparing the two, the top line on ping is slightly thinner. The head is slightly, very slightly bigger, longer. Both look really nice. Not a lot to choose between them. If anything, I'd almost say slightly preferred the ping, the way it looks, but not by much. Right, so this has got a dynamic gold 120 S300, so it's got a fractionally heavier shaft in it, but we'll see how it goes. Decent strike. 176, 165 carry, so almost identical. 34 degrees loft, I would expect it, and the shaft's marginally different in weight, so it's not going to make that much difference. That was a shocker. That was a really bad strike. 155, yeah, I lost 20 yards on that. And this is what I find, I mean, that was an exceptionally bad strike, but I did find, because I used these for a little bit, the CBs, and I'd been using D7 forged, and it was a club less every time. And not only that, when I didn't hit it, it would lose more than the D7 forged did. So, I mean, that's what should happen. But it was, and it became annoying because I was not only a club short, but I had to hit more club, which means I was using a longer shaft. And then the ability to hit the middle is reduced when you go longer. When you don't hit the middle, you come up even shorter than you would have on the D7 forge. So again, you're chipping from further back or pitching. That was a bit of a toe strike. And not too bad, that'll be interesting. Yeah, I lost a little bit. 158 carry, 169 on a toe strike, so it's not bad. There is forgiveness in there. Feel wise, this feels really, really nice and soft. I mean, softer than the ping. Not by a mile, but softer. And it should, it's forged. 172, 161 carry, a little bit pushed. Haven't hit these as well, maybe the shaft's not suiting me quite as much. Decent straight, I'll go a wee bit more left. Yeah, it goes further because I closed the club face a wee bit. So 168, 179. So it's doing the same sort of thing that the ping does. So let's one more with this and just switch straight back to the ping. That was a good strike. 176, 165 carry, that's exactly where the ping was going, and then just one more with the ping to finish. A wee bit pushed maybe. That's probably the worst strike I hit with the ping. And that's gone 162, 173, and it was a very slight miss hit. Right, so looking at the averages, the clubs are coming out almost identical. The spin rates are almost the same, launch is almost the same, distance, carry is almost the same, total distance almost the same, height, everything, as you'd expect, because the lofts are very similar and the clubs are built very similar. So I'm not noticing anything different about that. The other thing I'm not noticing is any major difference in forgiveness. So when it's slightly mishit the Wilson or slightly mishit the ping, they're probably dropping off about 10 yards, something like that. And that's what I'm seeing across both of them. So there's not a lot of difference. One thing I just want to test now, and I'm sure there again won't be a lot of difference, but just to see how easy it is to do, drawing, fading, hitting high and hitting low with these clubs. That's the sort of things that people want to do with these clubs. Workability it's called. So I'll try that with both clubs and see how they feel. So I'll go with the Wilson first. So I can get a nice struck draw. Has a decent shape to it. And it's gone a bit further because that's what happens when you get the face slightly closed. De-loft it and it goes further. So let's try fade. Yeah, that felt fine, easy to do. Let's try a low one. Nice shot. Yeah, let's see if we can get it any lower than that. Well, certainly lower, didn't hit it particularly well. But yeah, that's doable. Oh, high, I haven't done a high one. So normally I'm about 18, 19 degrees launch with these on a normal shot. Let's see what launch we can get with a high one. 25. Not bad. And then let's try the I59, trying to hit a little draw in there. Or a big draw. Yeah, that was fine, felt good. Fade now. And a low one. Punch a low one in with the I59. Might hit that left. I think I hit it low. Yeah, quite low. 14 launch. So 14 launch. Let's see if we can go the opposite. Let's see if we can get it up near 27 launch. Up in the air. Oh, I could even beat 27 there, I think. 28. So that was all easy to do. What I just want to quickly show you is that this can be done working the ball. Talk about workability with blades and better players' irons, but it can be done with the players' distance irons as well. I've got an I525 here. It's supposed to be way more forgiving, goes further, all the rest of it, but because it doesn't have a lot of offset, you can still do fades, draws, high, low. Very easy to do. So if I set up for a draw with the I525, yeah, that's moving a wee bit more, that one. And then fade. See, that's moving as well. It's to do with your technique, and as long as the club's fairly neutral in its setup, then it can be done. And then low. What's the launch on that then? 15, yeah, not bad. And then let's see if we can whip it up in the air. Nah, I didn't quite reach the heights. 25. It's all right. So you can see there, you can do it with them all, but it's easy enough with the Wilson and the Ping. Right, so conclusions on these. First thing first, price. £650 worth of a difference. That is an astronomical difference. And I can't ignore that because the performance benefit of the Ping is nowhere near. Basically, there isn't a performance difference. I'm seeing them go in the same distance. I'm seeing the same sort of level of forgiveness. I reckon if you put it on a robot and tested it, that the Ping I59 would be slightly more forgiving than the Staff CB, but in real life, I can't notice it. What I am noticing is that the Ping looks really nice. I actually almost prefer the look of the top line, slightly thinner than the Wilson. And the feel's still quite good, but I would say in defence for the Wilson, it does feel a bit softer, and it's a slightly smaller club head if you like that. So there's no performance benefit. You're only basing it on, I say there's no performance benefit. Ping would argue that there is a performance benefit, and they could probably show me tests where this club would outperform the Wilson on mishits. But as I've said, in real life, I'm not noticing it. I'm noticing very similar spin levels, very similar launch, distance, carry, everything is the same. So, down to a question of what you like best. Do you like the look of the Ping and the feel of the Ping, and do you want to spend that extra money and have something that maybe nobody else has really got, because they will be quite rare because they're a lot of money? Or do you think the Wilson is every bit as nice and cost £650 less, and you can go and spend your £650 on something else. So I know what I'd do. I'd go down the Wilson route, even though I really like the look of the ping. I think it's the nicest looking ping iron I've seen. I just think it's a real shame how much it is. I think if it was down at the price of even an I525, about 1100 quid or something like that, then it's a more difficult decision, and I think you'd have more people going for it. I mean, it might be proved wrong by the sales figures, and that the Ping I59 is a great seller and everybody likes it. But I think on balance, it's hard to ignore the fact that the Wilson is doing everything that the Ping does. And sometimes in one case, the feel is actually slightly better. So it's a difficult argument to make to say buy the Ping over the Wilson because of the massive price difference. So my recommendation would be the Wilson. So I hope that's been interesting and helpful if you're in the market for a club like this. Please subscribe and like if you can, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.